Hey guys, I just wanted to tell you a little story about a very interesting conversation I had tonight with a girl that I met in this tiny little mountain town. I'm out skiing right now, taking a couple days away from home and just enjoying myself. And I love to cruise about these places and just talk to people. Nothing bad, nothing weird. Just I went out and had a beer after a nice dinner that I bought myself after a long day on the slopes. And anyways, I got to talking with this gal who was in this little tap house beer place that I went to have a little nightcap at, and it was interesting. I was literally the only person in the bar. She was the only person working there, and we just got a chance to talk a little bit and have like you know, casual conversation at first, but just gradually got on to the point where I was just inquisitive about just her past and her life and just, kind of who she was and where she was going in life and just sort of track she was on. I love to have these sorts of conversations with people. I always appreciate getting below the surface layers as much as possible. It's interesting. Everybody has a story. Everybody's got a past. Everybody's got something they can teach you. And I love to talk with people and to experience these things. Anyways, this girl said something that really surprised me tonight, and I want to paint the backdrop of the conversation I was having with her. She's a younger girl that had kids at a very young age. And she was involved in a very interesting relationship with a guy who was like quite literally just like plain out gangbanger. Guy's in prison right now, and she had two kids by this person, like I said, and just a very interesting story. And I posed this question to her about, well, at that point in time, you're with this like really bad person in the world, this plain out criminal, guy that's into just all kinds of bad stuff, like hardcore, like real deal, bad, like, gangster type of guy. When you're dating him, were you really actually in love with this guy, or was it more just like a survival thing at that time in your mind? Like, what was the psychology that was going on there? And, it was interesting to hear the experience where at first she like thought she was in love. And then, after some period of time, obviously, she finally arrived at the conclusion that like, well, I'm just like with this guy because it's kind of like a survival instinct because now I have his kids. And, I feel protected by this guy that's, got this like gang clout and all this kind of stuff, like really weird stuff. That's probably like very radical and very different than most of what, you folks out there that listen right now maybe have been through in your lives, certainly for me. But anyways, at the tail end of that conversation where I was asking her about love and, the survival instincts and just the psychology about what she was going on through, I was very curious to know if she ever thought she would be able to love another person, love another man at some point in her life. And she said it was interesting. She said that she thought probably not. She thought she might not be capable of that. And I asked her like why that was, and she admitted that she's like, I am so masculine now because I've had to be. I've had to like raise these two kids like more or less on my own. I've had this guy in prison. I've had all sorts of just shit happen in my life, as she said, that just made her had to, she had to be her own man. She had to be like the mom and the dad. She had to be like her own, rock, if you want to say that, her own masculine energy in her life. So therefore she embodies these things now. She has become this, and she's had a challenge dating people. And it was so interesting to me to ask her this question. I said, like, okay, like, with all that said, like what sort of man do you think would need to come along to break you out of that sort of that energy, or to break you out of like feeling that way, like this, like she wanted to be more in her feminine. She wanted to be, just a different way than she knew she was being. She knew she was being masculine. She knew she was acting in a different way. She knew she was doing things that would deter a lot of people. And like I said, the most fascinating question I want to know from her is like, and in my mind, I had just kind of assumed, I'm like, okay, well, you need like a really strong, like masculine man. Like you need somebody that's just like a whole different sort of like level of energy to like overshadow and overcast like this masculine energy you have inside of you right now. And I'm like, is that right? And she's like, no, it's actually not that at all. And this is the part that fascinated me. And she said, in her words, like verbatim, word for word, she claimed that if she encountered a man that was, allowed himself to be vulnerable, like with her and to her, that would put her in the most like submissive, feminine energy that she could ever imagine. And she like claimed that she longed to cross paths with a person like this. She hoped she met a man that did this sort of thing for her. That the guy was vulnerable with her. The guy opened up to her, and like she claimed that was the key. That was the thing that was going to open her up. That was the thing that was going to change her from the person who she is right now, the type of lover that she is right now, the type of woman she is right now, the type of like masculine, going against her natural instincts, like sorts of person that she knows she is in this world. That was the type of person that she claimed would open her up, that would change things for her, she felt like she could truly fall in love with somebody like that. It's a person that, like I said, a man that was able to be vulnerable with her. And this just, it shocked me, it riveted me, because like I said, it was not what I expected her to say. I thought she was going to say something completely different. And it's just a little food for thought. This is just one woman's perspective on the face of the earth, but it's just something for each of us as guys, as you listen to this, to kind of keep in your back pocket and think about. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe it is, something that's needs to be paid a little more attention to. Maybe it is the key to unlocking that woman's heart that you just can't seem to melt that ice off of her, like masculine energy that she's got going on right now. Maybe that's it. I have no idea, guys. I haven't had a chance to put this sort of thing into practice, or to test this, or to experience this maybe with anybody that I've dated so far. But I'm just telling you verbatim, word for word, this is the context of the conversation I just had not but 5 minutes ago. And it really shocked me, and it really struck me. And it was an interesting thing. So try to think about that next time you're maybe interacting with a woman like this, or going through some stuff. Maybe it'll help you. Maybe it won't. I don't know. It's certainly like it's a departure from, I think, like the mainstream message you're going to hear that's like, oh, you need to be masculine and, strong and guarded, and not talk about your feelings, not talk about your emotions, all this kind of stuff. And, maybe that's partially true, but I do want to believe what this girl is saying. Like, if you really seek to connect with somebody, if you really seek to open somebody up, if you really seek to have that sort of like feminine partner that is just the yin to your yang, the balance that we're all looking for as men and women. Maybe this has something to do with it, okay? All right, guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Talk to you all soon.